she was literally plotting and planning and scheming on camera, and no one is calling it out. Well, everyone, I have braved the storm, and I watched episode 3 and 4 of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, Life After Lockup, and you know I have some things to say. These 2 episodes were a wild ride. So if you enjoyed my previous video, you're definitely going to want to hear this one, but if you didn't see it, I will also have it linked down below. Before we get into today's video, I want to tell you all about this video's sponsor, and I'm so excited to tell you about them because I have personally reached out to this mobile game and asked them to sponsor me again because I've been playing their game for over a year and I genuinely love it. I play this game even when I'm not being sponsored by these people. I love it. It is so much fun, and that is June's Journey. June's Journey is a hidden object murder mystery where you get to play these beautiful scenes and uncover hidden objects within them. And then while you're doing that, it's also unfolding this murder mystery involving the main protagonist's sister who has been murdered. And June Parker is trying to solve her murder, and it's also uncovering all of these dark family secrets as you progress. And it's so interesting. There's so much tea. It's so juicy. But not only do you get to play these beautiful scenes and find these hidden objects, which is like my favorite part. I love that about this game. Like, I cannot express that enough. But you also have this island that you get to decorate with all of these objects however you want to decorate it and create this beautiful space for yourself. Mine is huge. Look, I have a windmill and it spins. And then on top of that, you also get to play with like-minded people because there are clubs in this game that you can join. You can chat with other people and work together. Download June's Journey for free today by clicking the link in my description or by scanning the QR code that you see here on the screen, and it will take you to download it. June's Journey is available on iOS, Android, and also on PC through Facebook Games. So there's so many different ways to play, and it's so much fun. So again, if you are interested in downloading June's Journey for free, click the link in my description down below or scan the QR code that you see on the screen and get started. It is so much fun, and who knows, you might find the club that I'm a part of and join it and we can work together. Thank you so much to June's Journey for sponsoring today's video. I'm so excited to have you as a sponsor, and let's go ahead and get back into this video. Third episode first starts. You got Gypsy Rose and Ryan in their apartment. They're still married at this, they're still legally married now, but they're still a couple at the beginning of episode 3. They just talk about things that are just like, why are we talking about this? Like, it seems kind of out of touch with reality, because the reason why we're all watching this show is because this girl, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, got famous after conspiring to her mom. When you're watching this and she just gets out of prison, there's no wholesomeness about it at all. It's just they get right into talking about things that it's like, do we really want to know about that side of their life? Not me personally, but they're talking about that. And she also says something to the effect of Ken would be so jealous. And it's immediately like, we all know how this ends up. She's currently with Ken, but like watching it, it's so obvious where her head was at the moment she got out of prison, because she keeps bringing him up over and over and over again. Like, she just keeps talking about Ken. I don't know how Ryan didn't see it, but I'm sorry, when you've been broken up with someone for years and you're over it, you don't talk about them. You might say a few things here and there, but you're not going to sit there and just talk about that person. So to me, it was like glaringly obvious for a very long time. Before she even got out of prison, she was talking about Ken to him, that he should have seen the red flags there and that she still had some interest. I don't know, maybe he didn't want to believe it, but like, I'm sorry, like when I'm with my husband, I'm definitely not thinking about my ex-boyfriend from years ago. You know what I mean? Now, there is this scene, and a lot of people have been talking about this scene because it was so uncomfortable. That is where Gypsy Rose has to meet with her PO officer at about 3:30 or something like that, but then they have to leave for a flight to go to New York City so she can do all those Good Morning America interviews and stuff that she did right after she got out. And so they're cutting it really, really close. Like, they're very close to miss their flight because her meeting with her PO officer went way longer than they were expecting. You start to see how Ryan handles stressful situations. And now, in my previous video, if y'all watch that, you know how I feel about the both of them right now. I am not into it on either side. I'm just talking about like facts here and like my opinion on the things that are presented to us. I want to say, like, under stress, like when you think you're going to be late to something as important as a flight, you're gonna like be snippy, because there's other things about Ryan, like other kind of like red flags about seeing his controlling behavior. I think that's the reason why this scene stands out, is like, what in the hell is going on here? They are late to this flight, and I mean, Ryan is a backseat driving like I've never seen before in my life. Like, he's reaching forward, he's telling this guy, you know, you passed that, cussing at him and all this stuff. Like, he is showing so much road rage, and he's showing so much controlling behavior. And they're told that because they're going to be late, they can't bring in extra checked bags. They just have to take, you know, what they can carry on them. They don't have time to check in bags. And he gets really, really upset because he wants to take all of his clothes and doesn't want to leave anything. And so him and Gypsy kind of start getting into it. And you can really see Gypsy in these scenes. She was raised in a manner where she knows how to put on a face for other people, and you can see her do that in this show. Like, they're in this very stressful situation, and she's trying really hard not to show anger and not to show stress. I mean, there's this part where Ryan cusses and she's like, what did I say about language? And I'm sitting there thinking, girl, you're worried about language, but your mom, you know what I mean? I mean, she didn't directly do it that we know of. It's always bizarre to me when people are so worried about cuss words, but they'll like do stuff like that. Like, girl, did you forget what you were in prison for? I think an F-bomb is gonna be just fine. Now, I know that Ryan has come out and done lives where he has talked about how they knew the Uber driver, he was a friend or something like that, and he knew that he was just joking around. Honey, you were not joking. You were mad. So clear you were actually angry. Like, we could all see you were mad. And I mean, it's fair. You're afraid you're gonna be late. Like, it's not unfair to like be mad, but the level of rude that he was being to this guy, like, the one driving this vehicle was not the reason why they were late. I'm sorry, the way that you treat people that are helping you with things, like driving a car for you, like an Uber, or, you know, handling your food and serving you at a restaurant, like the way you treat those people says everything I need to know about a person. It says everything that I need to know. So the fact that he was being that rude just because he was stressed out about a situation that personally affected him and like putting that on other people, I did not like that. They keep having these clips where it's like certain things are said and you can see that like it flashes over their faces for a minute. Like, oh yeah, like she was in prison for the murder of her mom, so maybe we shouldn't like say that. There's this part where he says something about how like Gypsy will maul your face and she's like, rawr, and it's like, I don't think this is the time. I'm not gonna lie, there are like moments in this show where I see flashes of something because I feel like there's more going on. That's all I'm gonna say. There's also this part, and I have to bring this up, and maybe it wasn't meant the way that I took it, but I mean, I have to say that there are some theories out there that she took part in some of it, and I'm not saying she did. I'm not accusing her of anything. I'm just saying there are theories out there, okay? Because there are a lot of details to the story with the actual, you know, offing of her mom that took place where I don't think everybody knows the full story like how I know it. Some people do, but I don't think everybody does. I feel like some people don't know like the text messages and the actual conversations that were taking place, and the fact that Nicholas Godejohn admitted to a certain amount of you know what's, but there was more than that. And so a lot of people think that maybe Gypsy did some of that. There is this moment where she says, I don't want to be remembered as the girl who murdered her mom. And that really stood out to me because if she didn't take part in what happened, why did she say that? That to me was like a red flag that she worded it that way. Because if I didn't do that, like how she claims she didn't actually do it, that somebody else did it for her and she didn't take any part in it at all, why would you have worded that way? Let me know in the comments down below. I will wait. Now, they also show this scene where like they're walking around in New York City and all of these people are flocking to her. And I'm not gonna lie, that was like very uncomfortable to watch. Like you could see that Ryan was getting like protective of her, and like, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like, does everybody forget like who this girl is and why everybody knows who she is? Because in moments where I see like people like running up to her for pictures, I'm like, I don't think you know, when somebody gets out of prison for what she got out of prison for, it's the time or the place to be asking them for selfies. Y'all know how I feel about Gypsy, but I want to say that there was a lot that I've seen on this show that it's hard not to sympathize in certain ways, where like she just got out of prison and she's thrown in all of these interviews and all these people know who she is and are wanting to take pictures with her, and it's her first time in New York City. So many firsts, like she's trying to, you know, be a wife for the first time, but under a spotlight. And I do recognize that that has to be like a very difficult position to be in, but like watching people, they're like flocking to her like she was Britney Spears out in the wild, and I'm like, it's Gypsy Rose. You know what I mean? There's also this scene where her and Ryan are talking about if Gypsy Rose wants something, she's gonna get it. And like I said, I feel like we're seeing some of the other side of her personality, because the way she presents herself is like this sweet, I have a like little kid voice. She reminds me of Michelle Duggar, to be honest. Like, I've done a lot of videos on Michelle Duggar, who has admitted that she has anger issues. We've seen some of it. I just feel like Gypsy Rose puts on this front of like, I'm just sweet and innocent all the time, and it's too much, where it's like, I know there's something in there. I mean, there would have to be, but I think it's the fact that I feel like she tries to portray herself in a different way. That's what personally bothers me, because we all know she ain't just over there all sweet and innocent. I mean, like the by any means necessary clip. Why would you say that on TV? Like, what the hell? Like, we start to see some like downfall of their marriage already. I mean, she's only been out a couple weeks. And Ryan wants to get remarried, and Gypsy tells him there's too much going on. I don't want to do that. We all know that the too much that's going on is what's going on up here about Ken. There's this clip of Gypsy from episode 4 where she's talking about Ken, and I'm not gonna lie, it is creepy. The beginning of episode 4 talks about nightmares that she's having of her mom. We're finally hearing a few things being said about what actually went on between them. There's this scene where she's like sitting in the car with her family, and they're going to see her grandma, and she said her grandma, who is unfortunately passed away, they're going to see her grave, and she's in the back seat, and she's talking a little bit about like when her mom put her in a sleep apnea mask when she was a little girl. And in moments like that, like I see the little girl that her mom was doing these things to, and I do sympathize, because I definitely come really hard on Gypsy in my videos for good reason, I feel like. But in moments like this, like I sympathize for what she went through with her mom. Like, that's terrible. Like, imagining a child, you know, having feeding tubes and stuff, all that going on, like it does make me really sad and break my heart, and it is extremely messed up. She is talking about her mom. She said that when her grandma passed away, her mom started like smashing angel statues all around the house. And I'm definitely like, this is like what I'm interested in. This is the stuff, I don't know about you all, but this is what I want to hear. I want to hear the stuff that went on between her and her mom. And then like her nephew tells this story of Gypsy's mom, and said that Gypsy's mom was a little bit closer to his age, her nephew's age. He said that she like grabbed this orange and she started like peeling this orange, and that she looked at it and was talking to it like it was a baby and saying, I'm gonna take good care of you and all this stuff. And then her nephew said that she like smashes the orange on the ground and like walks away from it. And I'm like, what the hell did I just listen to? And they're kind of like having this conversation back and forth about how like everyone who knew Gypsy's mom talked about how there was something off about her, which I'm like, if you guys knew there was something off about her, why did you leave her alone with this child? Especially a child that you weren't convinced actually had these disabilities and issues that her mom was claiming that she had. And everybody was like, she isn't well, but you know, we're gonna just trust that what she's saying about this child is okay, and like not check on this little girl at all and just believe like that. To me is upsetting, because I feel like all these adults failed in this situation, like badly, and there's not enough spotlight being put on the people that allowed any of this to happen. Now we gotta talk about Gypsy Rose's stepmom. Okay, this woman is weird and doesn't understand boundaries and probably doesn't care. So there's this whole scene where her stepmom is talking about Gypsy Rose's ex, Ken, and she even says this statement of, just because my kids break up with them doesn't mean that I do. Girl, that's mad weird. Your children should feel like supported by you, and if they end a relationship with somebody, that you're not going to cross a line and keep in contact with that person, you should choose your children. And her also involving herself in Gypsy and Ryan's marriage was mad weird. Like, it was so blatantly obvious that she didn't want Gypsy to be with Ryan and wanted Gypsy to be with Ken. Her stepmom like goes and like digs under the bed and starts pulling out all this old mail from Ken and like opening it, and she kept all these pictures under her bed. What in the actual hell? She's been having conversations with Gypsy's ex about their relationship together when she's married to another man. So Gypsy Rose's stepmom says that she thought that Ken let Gypsy Rose go because he was getting calls and stuff and harassed because he was in a relationship with her. And so she thought that, you know, he couldn't take the heat and chose to back out of the relationship, which, I mean, if that's the truth, why were you still talking to him if you thought that this entire time? Like... Ugh. So there's this scene where Ryan is going to work. He's going back to work. This is his first time back at his job, okay? The first time he's leaving. Before he's leaving, him and Gypsy seem to be fine. He leaves and she gets on the phone with her stepmom and starts having this conversation about Ken where she's like crying and talking about how much she loved him. Her stepmom's telling her that like Ken told her that he didn't want to mess up her happiness, which if that was true, why are you doing it now? Like right after she gets out of prison. And that he broke up with her and ended things with her because he wanted her to be able to find herself, and that people in his life were telling him that if he loved her, he would let her go, which is like the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard in my entire life. That makes absolutely no sense, because if that was the case, you wouldn't be trying to weasel your way back in now that she's married and seemingly happy with another man. And you're seeing she's getting all this attention from social media. All these people have their eyes on her and are watching her. You're seeing she's getting lots of followers. You probably think she's getting a lot of money, a lot of fame, a lot of attention, and then she starts looking appealing to you again. And I'm sorry, Gypsy Rose does not have the life experience that she needs to be able to recognize that. She sees this guy that she finds good looking, that she said she loved so much and clearly still has feelings for, giving her the attention that she wanted this entire time. So she's ignoring all the red flags, or maybe just doesn't see them at all. But I mean, she is a red flag herself. So while she's on the call with her stepmom, Ryan keeps calling her. She's in the middle of talking about her ex-boyfriend and all the love she had for him, and if she was married, things would have been different, or if she wasn't married, things would have been different. And Ryan is calling her and she is denying his phone call every time it pops up, and you can see her seem like she's getting like annoyed. And I'm like, not only is it inappropriate that you're talking about another man while you're married to this guy, but also, she's doing it on camera. Like, the cameras are filming her. She knows that this is going to be broadcast to millions of people. And she's sitting there having this conversation on camera behind his back. And you know what it said to me? It told me that she was already trying to build a narrative because she knew what she was going to do. She was trying to build a narrative, and to me, I told you all she was manipulative, and she is doing it on camera. And the reason why some of y'all didn't clock it is because she successfully manipulated you, because that is what she's doing. Before she gets on the phone call with her stepmom, she's taking the camera into the closet and showing how messy Ryan is. Then she takes the cameras to the refrigerator and starts showing the refrigerator looks like every normal refrigerator I've ever seen. There's not more food in there, but she's filming this trying to make him look bad and telling the camera, knowing that eventually we're all going to see this, that Ryan reminds her of her mom and has hoarding capabilities. She was literally plotting and planning and scheming on camera, and no one is calling it out. She's kissing him before he goes to work and making him feel comfortable, and then as soon as he leaves, talking about her ex and how she would be with him if she wasn't married, and then trying to make Ryan look bad, who I'm not saying doesn't have his own things. I'm just saying she clearly was trying to make him look bad. She also threw away like all of his Tupperware and stuff like that, and I'm not joking, you guys. I feel like she was purposefully doing things trying to annoy him so that when he got back, he'd get mad and that the cameras would see it, so that she could use that as an excuse to get back to Ken. Because who takes like the entire Tupperware and throws the whole thing away? She took like Tupperware, and instead of emptying food, threw the entire thing out, and she's like, Ryan, look at this. Like, she knew he was gonna get annoyed at that, and she was like, she was literally trying to create a scene to make him look bad on camera. And I don't even know if he recognized it, but even as someone who's judging his movements and the way that he's behaved in this show so far, I see it. Like, I can see it clearly. This is one of those situations where it's not black and white. I see two messed up situations, which, I mean, hers is honestly a bit more concerning because, I mean, at least he's showing like his behaviors out in the open so you can kind of see what you're getting. But hers, she's trying to hide it and people aren't recognizing it. She was trying to make him mad because she threw away food where there was nothing wrong with it so that the cameras would catch him being mad about it so she could use it as an excuse to get back with Ken. She was trying to make him look bad on purpose. She was trying to create a plot for the show to get back with Ken. She was probably already talking to him in these scenes and they were trying to make it look like she wasn't. I don't believe anything. I mean, there is a live that I talked about in the video before this one. Her and Ken have been like in love for a very long time. But isn't she the same girl that was on the podcast with Nick saying that Ken lost his chance a long time ago? But now that you're back with him, you've loved him for a really long time. She's lying to everybody. She's lying to you. She's lying to the audience. She's lying to her husband. She was lying to anybody that she had to lie to create the narrative that she had to create, which is exactly what I said in my first two videos that I ever did about Gypsy Rose that I was afraid that she would do, which was lie and manipulate people. Guys, there is a little bit of crazy I'm seeing here. I'm not going to lie. Like, she's talking about how there's this clip, chills down my spine, where she's saying, I would have done anything for that man, talking about Ken. If y'all read the text messages between Gypsy and Nick, the one that her mom, that is concerning to me and a big old red flag. All right. I'm just telling you right now. I don't like it. In this phone conversation she's having with her stepmom, she literally says that her and Ryan have like an open line of communication where they're very like open with each other. But she says that she wishes sometimes it wasn't like that in case Ken was texting. She's literally saying on camera, I want to talk to this man behind Ryan's back, but we have an honest relationship right now where I can't get the time and the space to do that. I mean, I think I'm seeing why she was uncomfortable when Ryan leaned over her, like whenever she was looking at the pictures of the dogs, trying to figure out what dog she wanted. Like, that's what you do when you're afraid someone's going to text you and your husband's going to see it. She also said, and I'm going to read this from the way that I wrote it in the notes of my phone. She said that she's going to tell Ryan about it later, the conversation that she had with her stepmom. But knowing what her stepmom just told her, in a different world, if she wasn't married to Ryan, and she snaps her fingers, this girl is dangerous. The fact that she's saying this to these cameras and not to Ryan, she knew what she was going to do in the moment, was probably already doing it. I don't think Ryan even like sees it that way, but like as someone who watches a lot of reality TV, I'm always very aware there's cameras with producers and like there's a whole thing going on, and I don't ever just view it as like what you're seeing. There's like plots and stuff that are created, and like a lot of the scenes are set up to be that way to create a narrative. And I see the narrative that's being created, and I don't think a lot of people are seeing it. I think a lot of people are just seeing like they really like Gypsy, and they're not seeing all this other stuff that sticks out to me like the biggest red flag I've ever seen in my entire life. Gypsy said that she would get in the shower. She said like he really likes blondes, and as you can see, I'm not blonde, which later she dyes her hair blonde for him, but she's like, as you can see, I'm not blonde. And she said she used to go in the shower and like cut her hair off with like nail clippers. Why would you like say that? All these people love and support her. I'm just like, what the hell? Like Sabrina Carpenter even retweeted her TikTok, and I'm like, how does nobody see this? Like, really, all you had to do is smile at somebody and be nice, and then they're just gonna believe everything you say. Not me. She also says like, if me and Ryan have an argument, is there gonna be like a little voice in the back of my head like saying Ken is single? And the way she says it, guys, oh my God, she's crazy. She says like, I can't take it. I gotta be loyal to my marriage, y'all. Girl, you're not being loyal right now. You're sitting on the bed you share with your husband talking about your ex-fiance on cameras that are gonna be broadcasted to millions of people. You're not loyal. You're trying to like frame this thing of like, I'm a loyal, responsible person. You make very irresponsible decisions for somebody who's so responsible. And I don't think I need to talk about the first irresponsible decision, do I? And I mean, after all this, so Ryan gets home, right? And he asks her what they talked about. And he asked her if there's anything else. And she literally straight up lies and says no. She's manipulating and lying to Ryan in this. She's trying to give him a kiss. She's like trying to be all flirty with him and giddy and act like she didn't just talk about her ex-boyfriend on camera. Like, guys, like, she literally was lying. Like, I can see why Ryan in that scene probably didn't think he had anything to worry about, because she literally was lying to him. Like, she lies to a lot of people, allegedly, and has lied about a lot of things, allegedly. I mean, I personally feel like she got lucky manipulating somebody like Nick, who has a different way of thinking, because I feel like had it been someone else, they probably would have said more about Gypsy by now. Then it ends with Ryan saying that she basically talked to him after the cameras were gone about like her conversation that she had with her stepmom about Ken, and he says that, you know, she's getting involved in their marriage, and he's right, she clearly was, and it's icky. And he also says that Gypsy's happy with him. There's another sign that Gypsy was painting this picture to Ryan that she was happy when she had an ulterior motive. It's gross to me. I don't care if you really are in love with someone else. Like, you don't get to just like treat people like that. Like, you don't get to, no, you don't get a free pass. And I also don't think like when people have a rough childhood, that's a free pass for them to be a piece of shit in their future. Like, I'm sorry. I had a rough childhood, but I'm not out here trying to make life rough on everybody else because of it. I don't know, y'all. That is everything from episode 4. They showed a preview for the next episode, and it looks like it's going to be crazy. I mean, even Gypsy Rose's dad said that he told his wife that she shouldn't be talking to Ken, and no, she shouldn't. Like, she should be hanging her head in shame. Why would you do that? That's not a normal thing to do. I know some parents do that, but step out of your kids' like relationships. Like, know your boundary. Like, don't be doing that. And also, I don't think that she has the right now as a stepmom to involve herself in Gypsy Rose's relationships with other people when she didn't involve herself in Gypsy Rose's life when she needed her the most, when she was trapped with a mom with Munchausen by proxy. All right. Her stepmom didn't help her in that. Okay. So she can't sit up here and act like she's trying to help her now. She's involving herself in a situation that she should not be involving herself in. I'm almost like, do you have a crush on Ken? Like, what the hell? You know, I mean, he does kind of resemble her husband. Okay, I'm going to leave it with that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you want to see more, if you want to see me react to the next episodes of Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup, definitely give this video a thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know, and I will be seeing you soon for another video. But before you leave, I just want to give you a quick reminder to check out June's Journey. You can download June's Journey for free by checking the link in my description, or you can click the QR code as seen on screen here to download June's Journey. It is free to play on iOS and also on PC on Facebook Games. Thank you so much to June's Journey for sponsoring this video, and I will be seeing you soon.